Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadur Rasulullah. Ashhadu anna
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله الذي أنزل على عبده الكتاب يحجي الله واجه أحمده سبحانه وتعالى وأشكره وهو أهل وثانا وأشهد أن لا إله إلا هو لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله ومصطفى اللهم صل وسلم على ذكر رسولك محمد وأهله وصحبه وسلم الحمد لله رب العالمين. We thank Allah Almighty always for Jumah. It is the holy day of the world. Allah Almighty on this day created Adam on Friday. He entered paradise on Friday. He came to the earth on Friday. He was entered back in paradise on Friday. And the day of judgment when it starts will be on Friday. So this is a very, very special holy day, and this is why Allah Almighty says, leave everything and hasten to the mosque. And in hastening to the mosque, it is obligatory for men. Women, they can come or not come because of their biological makeup. They have situations where they can't always be at the mosque on Friday. Allah has allowed leniency on them so that they come as they like on Friday. But it's obligatory on men to leave everything and hasten to the mosque because the men are the leaders in the community. Allah has provided the man with so much of more power than a woman, even though a woman's power is not, this is not something that you can say it's because she's not as powerful as a man that she's not powerful. No, there's power in different ways. Men cannot bear children. We could not carry that. They can tolerate more pain than we can. But Allah Almighty sends the man out into the world to be the protectors and maintainers of the family. And it's usually, if there's war, it's the men that's fighting the war. So Jumah is very, very important in that we come to get power and listen. There are 3 levels in which the Jumah addresses the people involved. There's a common level of people with common understanding. There are those who are unseen and those who have a higher understanding of learning. Allah Almighty created us to be His representatives on earth. This is very, very serious. Why is it serious? It is serious because there is a responsibility on every male that has a rational mentality. Because don't think that you were just created just to eat, sleep, drink, and procreate. Allah has brought us into this life to be responsible to represent Him. And you see our communities, there's no man in the household. Women are raising babies. Babies are raising babies. And so there's chaos in our community. So we've lost the understanding of who we are and whose we are. So the situation in our communities is chaos. We don't respect our lives and we don't respect the other person's life. Why? Because we don't know who we are. We don't know that Allah Almighty has created us to represent Him. And so when we talk about Allah Almighty, it seems so far-fetched from us being able to represent Allah Almighty, because we know that the Creator, people talk about the Creator, Allah Almighty as being the Creator of the heavens and earth and everything in it, and able to do all of these things, and then sending prophets who are able to part the Red Sea and do so many extraordinary things. That's because we are so far away from ourselves. We have been subjected to wine, women, and song, wine, men, and song. We grow up, and all we do to bring us up, uplifting, is something decadent. This is why you have more alcoholism. This is why you have more drug abuse. This is why you have misunderstanding. This is why the prisons are filled with ignorant people, because they don't know who they are. If you knew who you are and whose you are, never would you be subjected to that, except on special occasions. Not just on a regular basis, that's what it is. And so we accept that. We're supposed to do that. We're supposed to be in those situations. That's not it. So Allah Almighty has tested us by being here. And one of the things we have to think about in our everyday life, how are we affecting people? Are we affecting change every day in our community? Or are we just relegated to our own self-entertainment all day long? Because Allah Almighty has created human beings to be fuel for the fire. And that fuel for the fire is something, please don't talk in, please.
Sorry.
And that fuel for the fire is something that we have to think about. Are we fuel for the fire, or are we water for the fire? Allah Almighty has sent us here to raise hell. In other words, we are born in a place that our ancestors, our mother and grandfather and grandmother failed to. We have to bring back paradise on earth. It has to be on earth as it is in heaven. Now it's hell on earth. Real hell on earth. People don't have a clue who they are, what they're doing. They don't have a clue. No men in the homes. No fathers in the homes. Nothing. The income. No income. It's just crazy. That's not what Allah Almighty created us to be. So there has been an infiltration of Shaitan in the lives of the human being, especially the men, because the women are still procreating, bringing humanity into life, but then the man is responsible for that that's being brought throughout mothers. But the men are not to be found. They're either in prisons, they're either early death in the graves, or they're strung out. Strung out something that's altering their brains. Got them mixed up. Got them acting in a way that it's not the way they were created. That's wrath, that's a curse on our community. And that's why Allah says, stop everything and hasten to the mosque and be reminded of who you are. You weren't sent here to be some fool or some idiot in life and to die like that. That's not why we were created. And that's why Allah Almighty threatens us. So we're asking Allah Almighty to help us and to forgive us and to bring us guidance, mental health, physical health, spiritual health, financial health, so that we may reinvent our community and to make it something that Allah Almighty is pleased with. Here and hereafter. Woman Allah Tawfiq al-Fatiha. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Walillahi alhamd. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wa salatu wa salamu ala kareem al-mursaleen Muhammadin Nabi Ummi wa ahlihi wa sahbihi ajma'in abad. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. This is why Allah Almighty, He gives us Ramadan and He orders us for fasting so that we may purge ourselves of all the decadence that Shaitan has filtered in us through our desires and made us to be a people that resulted to animal behavior. An animal is not, to be on an animal level is not a low life for an animal, because animals are on the level. But for a human being to be on an animal level is a low level. Because Allah Almighty has subjected the heavens and the earth to serve Him. But we are serving animals, we are serving as animals. When Allah Almighty says that on Friday, that the doors of hell are closed and the doors of heaven are open, that's like doing Ramadan. That means that's a holy day. This is the time to really hasten to the mosque and take something that we're going to need to raise up as men, so that our women will be protected. Allah's not blaming the women. Allah is blaming the men. And during Ramadan, the whole of Ramadan, Allah Almighty shuts down hell. It's shut down. The heavens, the doors of heaven are open for people to re-seek and to reclaim their power. In a few days, inshallah, we will be fasting during the month of Ramadan, and we're asking that Allah Almighty gives us the power and the strength and make it easy for us, so that, because these are going to be some very long days, and that we will be able to complete our fast successfully and to grow up to be the men that Allah Almighty has brought us to be, and to be pleased with us here and hereafter. Woman, Allah Tawfiq al-Fatiha. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah. Rahman ar-Rahim. Malik yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdina as-sirata al-mustaqim. Sirata alladhina an'amta 'alayhim. غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. Come in Salah.